Welcome to Cinemaphile, where we showcase the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers and talk to them about their work. I'm your host, Mike Kaspar. You can listen to other interviews by going to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar at Spotify. The documentary film Artfully United comes from a simple idea. That is, a wall in a community of artists and activists coming together to heal and uplift the city that they call home. As the murals are unveiled, the gritty documentary explores the forces that shaped the streets of Los Angeles and those that shaped Mike Norice, an artist delving into his past to create a rich tapestry of family and faith and love and loss and music and hope and life. It's all here in this wonderful documentary film called Artfully United. We're joined today by the producer of Artfully United, and that is Christopher Walters. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike.
You're very welcome, and I'm so appreciative of getting to know Mike Norice and his family and his story and his art. It's been a few years since I've been in that part of Los Angeles, but to see the boldness of his work and the simplicity and the uplifting message that is conveyed in his work was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Tell us a little bit about how you got to know Mike Norice and what prompted this documentary, Artfully United, to become a reality.
I met Mike Norice over 10 years ago. This is back at the beginning of 2013. I had made some short films out in Maine where I live and was out there meeting with anybody I had gained any contacts with in the industry. And the week went okay, but the last day I was there, ex-girlfriend and I were walking down Melrose Avenue, popping into some shops, came across BYN Customs, and gentleman outside was painting on some shoes. Another guy was painting on canvas. There's music coming from inside. And we were drawn in there, and I met the proprietor, who was the designer, artist Mike Norice. And he had gone to FIDM, Fashion Institute Design America, and earned a degree in fashion design and merchandising. But he was a fine artist applying a lot of these amazingly intricate designs onto the sides of Air Force One shoes or Nikes and Air Jordans, and it was remarkable. I was looking at some of the stuff he'd done, and then I started, learning that he had done commissions for all sorts of different actors, entertainers, musicians. Saw some of his fine art and on big canvases, and it really is remarkable stuff. So jumping forward a few years, he had the idea to do very simple murals in some rough areas around Los Angeles that were message oriented. And it belies the incredible talent he has. And he does, big oil painting commissions, portraits of people. But with these Artfully United murals, it says forgiveness or hope or peace or love or we are one. He gets the buy-in of the community. A lot of these are areas that have gang activity. A lot of these are areas that have churches that are nearby or that have community organizations, law enforcement. Mike's a longtime participant in the California Ceasefire Committee. He's gone to meetings of people that facilitate these kind of dialogues. So he already was plugged in at the street level, as well as at the community leader level, as well as with the people of faith. And it's been remarkable, the cooperation and the success of these. They really don't get marked over very much. They don't get defaced very often. When there has been some damage, there was a fire at the Forgiveness mural a couple of years ago, and people raised money and they went out and they restored that. It's appeared in some other motion pictures and in TV shows. It's a landmark now, right at the corner of Slauson and Hoover in South Central. And it's a beautiful, big 93-foot, magnificent mural in its simplicity and in its effectiveness as a real community intervention. You talk about community psychology or social activism. Mike does this in a simple artistic form, and people notice his little character, Powerful Paul. And it's him doing different things, showing that there's hope. And he's looking through an area that Mike's cut out where there'll be beautiful, intricate illustrations of a sunset somewhere on a beach and a tranquil waters. And It really is remarkable the testimonies he gets from people about the peace mural as an area where there'd been murders and gun violence, and testimonials from folks in that community that say there is a different vibe. There has been less violent activity in that proximity. And there's folks that reach out to Mike and say, Mike, I was contemplating suicide
Yeah.
and was at the light seeing the forgiveness mural, and it resonated on some level maybe we don't understand, but it was an intervention at that moment. And he's done 13 of these already. His plan is to do 20. In our documentary, we tell the story of the personal things that he and his family have overcome. It's a distinctly American success story, but it pulls at the heartstrings. His dad was a Vietnam vet, was hooked on drugs while serving our country overseas, was drafted, answered that call, came back addicted to drugs, wasn't able to finish college, needed some help because of a relapse, went to the VA in Texas in Amarillo, and it's documented in the film. He was turned away because there just wasn't sufficient beds or areas or ability to help him. We wrestle with that as a country and as Americans. It's a very imperfect history that we have, and it pulls on the heartstrings when that man relapses and goes back to prison with a 99-year life sentence. And I don't want to say
Yeah.
much more than that, but just it's. I think this is a story and a movie that's going to inspire people, but it's going to make us, reckon with some tough things that still go on in our country. Boy, they've succeeded. Mike and his sister Carmel, his sister Joy, they've succeeded in spite of a lot of these obstacles and challenges. And both of their parents, Salim as well as their mom Dorcas, are just incredible people. I really want people to see this film and be challenged and also be inspired.
All the things you just described. And I don't know if it's the right way to say this, but it feels like Mike, he and his sister went through a lot in their upbringing in terms of just resources available, opportunities for their mom to provide them with a life, especially with their dad being in prison. Just there's a lot of things that he and his family had to overcome. But it does feel like partly because of the kind of people, the kind of person that his mom is, to pay it forward, to understand, sort of to be able to incorporate a lot of trauma and stress and be able to mold it into something that is, I'll call it pay it forward. I'll call it wanting to reach out to others who on a level that he understands the pain. He understands that, and you see that in his art, and as you described it, it's beautiful and it's striking. That's the thing that, so oftentimes I go back to some of the early Nike ads, that they're simple, but they get that point across immediately. You know exactly without having just read a word or two, and you understand. And that's how the power of art and the power of the word can play out, right?
I couldn't agree with you more, Mike. I couldn't agree with you more, truly.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And again, this his family's story, especially I'm so taken by his sister who Carmel, am I saying that right? Carmel. Yeah, Carmel.
Carmel, yes.
Yeah, Carmel, where she's gone in her life. I mean, both of them are very accomplished people, but she becomes a molecular biologist. Am I get that right? I'm going to make sure I
She
get
has
it
she has a yeah, she has two PhDs. She has a she's an MD medical doctor and then has a PhD in molecular biology as well. I mean, just brilliant, valedictorian, first in her class, went to, Columbia Ivy League med school and
right.
was at Johns Hopkins. She was at the National Institute of Health overseeing vaccine and infectious diseases research. She's as smart as a person as I've ever met in my life. It's something else to just hear her story, to your point.
Yeah.
And it was that focus on education and responsibility and she and Mike, they say in the film, they made a pact when they were young that and these were kids that experienced homelessness. Their mom, 31-year public school teacher, and the fact that even in those cases, a father who's a Vietnam veteran, they're still, but incarcerated, there still wasn't even the housing stability, the food, level of food insecurity. They talk about collecting cans to, in the alleys with their mom to go and get something to eat for the night and receiving government rations of cheese and bread. It's really a remarkable thing that they were able to overcome that and still get an education and get the opportunity to get out, but it is against the longest of odds. They vowed early on also to stay out of drug addiction, to stay out of connections with other peers that were getting into the wrong things, as Carmel says in the film. It's a remarkable thing of them both giving back now as adults. Carmel works in the Maryland area where she is with folks that are out of prison with reentry programs for felons. She's amazing. I mean, honestly, I feel like I could do a sequel, just about all the incredible things that she continues to do, along with Mike and along with Joy, their sister, who's an incredibly talented singer and songwriter. She does the song at the end of the film, Tree, that plays over the end credits, and she's beautiful and talented, and just the whole family. They're amazing. They're wonderful people.
Absolutely. And mom is Dorcas, right?
Dorcas, yes,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Dorcas Morrow. What she instilled in them. I can't imagine shuffling around in a alley looking for cans and still being able to maintain that level of dignity and perspective and all the rest without being embittered and just completely, wanting to run for the hills. Yeah.
Mike, you'd understand if we had been able to show more of Mike's grandmother, Juanita Smith, and that was Dorcas's mom who passed away early in this project. And we did have some parts of footage with her in it, but it just ultimately didn't become part of the film. But she was an amazing woman
Okay.
and valued education and had a keen mind for business and really was the matriarch of that family. And she's one of the people to whom we dedicate and remember in the credits. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that she was an extraordinary
Yeah.
influence and example for everybody in that family.
And not a knock on men, but when they talk about strong black women, these are two shining examples of many shining examples actually in the film of that. Artfully United. Where can Chris, where can people connect with the film? How will people be able to watch?
We're going to be making our domestic premiere in August at the Greenpoint Film Festival, which takes place from August 6th through 10th. That's in Brooklyn. That's in the Greenpoint neighborhood. I've never been there. I can't wait. One of our producers and partners, Molly Connors, lived there at one point, and I'm already pumped up about the restaurants and the parks and visiting Brooklyn. But we made our premiere over in Cannes at the film festival. We were part of the out of out of competition programming and had a market screening last month. And it was my first time over in France. France was everything I was told it would be. The food was incredible. You might have to wait around for it for a little bit. They weren't in too much of a rush, but if you can handle the cigarette smoke,
Oh, that's
it was a
fantastic.
treasure. I loved it. I loved it.
Fantastic Hurricanes. Oh my God, that's fantastic. And
So
you
that's
know,
that's the next place. I was just going to say, so that's the next place it'll be
yeah.
shown down the road,
Yeah.
more festivals, and then hope to get it out
Okay.
streaming next year.
Well, very good. You got to say for culture, I don't know if the French do it as much as I know the Spaniards. Those afternoon naps, that's a society that isn't in too big of a hurry, Jen.
We had a couple of waiters who took naps while they were taking care of us, and the eye rolls. I have three daughters who are 20, 16, and about to be one, and some of their friends will roll their eyes right at the parents, or you'll see that, and that's how I felt a couple of times in France. Although the people were lovely, the
Oh my
weather was
God.
great, and again, the food was amazing.
Again, I just want to let our listeners know that Artfully United, there's a lot of things that are going on in the film in terms of storylines, but Mike is just remarkably grounded. The fact that he's driving through parts of Los Angeles where, for every 3 blocks, there's another kind of territory you have to navigate, which he has gotten to know and understand, and his ability to sit down with a variety of different people and convey what he's about, and for him to be able to broker these arrangements to allow his art to be seen, to be created actually, and then to be seen. God, I mean, he's just an amazing person. And yeah, I just can't say enough about just getting to know him in the film.
He's as talented as a person as you'll ever meet. I mean, it's remarkable. He has a bit of an aura of being such a magnificent, physical artist, which people can objectively observe the things he paints. But his personality, he's so composed,
Yeah,
he's so intelligent,
yeah.
just such a steady, amazing, gracious energy that yes, he's able to go into all these type of communities, and really he's as comfortable being approached by street people in distress as he is talking with multi-million dollar developers or clergy or
Right,
politics. I mean,
right.
he's so composed, he's an amazing communicator, and he conveys that with his art. It's he's such a remarkable artist. The fact that his family members are so different and also so talented, it's really a one, as I said, it's a distinctly a modern American, success story.
The internal guiding light that yourself as a documentary filmmaker, when you find a subject, when you see something like this, and your instincts are to pursue this, is something I continue to marvel at for people who do what you do, to understand there's something here. And then when you hit the jackpot, which you did with Mike and his story and his family, but to know that, to the instincts, to understand that there is something here that needs to be said out loud.
That was obvious way back, even when I met Mike in 2013. I right away wanted to implement him in little short films I was doing, and I brought him out to Maine a number of times to do murals at my house. We became very good friends, but the more I knew about his story and his desire to become more of an activist, he was already involved with California Ceasefire Committee. He was already going in and talking to kids at schools. He was already, very active, very involved, and very respected. But that was the good decision I made, was to put all my eggs in one basket with him, and even discontinued work on some feature projects I was working on. This was 9 years ago. So for it to finally be done
Yeah.
is a credit to gentleman Dave Benner, who directed and edited this with me, great friend of mine who'd worked with me on other stuff. And then getting to know Molly Connors and her partners at Fifen, Amanda Bowers, Alex Spat, wonderful people that have this great post-production facility in New Jersey. And Molly and I both got appointed by Governor Janet Mills a couple of years ago to be on the Maine Film Commission. Molly was appointed the president, or the chair. I was appointed the vice chair. And I was so impressed with this lady, learned more about the stuff with which she'd been involved, that I said, I've got this film that I think is terrific, but I'd be willing to, break the bones and reset them as far as some of the editing. And I especially wanted to polish. I wanted to do better, the most state of the art color adjustment and sound mixing. And she had those facilities.
Yeah.
So she came on board as a consultant, came on board, the three of them, as well as another partner, Jane Sinisi, as executive producers. And
Yeah.
now we have something of which we're all super proud.
Yeah.
It looks good, but we otherwise try to stay out of the way and let Mike and his family's story speak for itself.
Absolutely. And by the way, Mike Norris, let me spell it, Norice. It's not the traditional, in my mind, that's not the traditional spelling of that last name. So I just want to make people aware, Norice is the way that his last name is spelled. And
That's correct. I have a cousin whose last name is Norris, and it's spelled the
yeah,
the traditional way, as you
yeah,
said.
yeah. Well, my congratulations to David Benner on his work and your work as well. The team, if you will, have produced a really compelling documentary illuminating a really interesting, compelling, inspirational family, and in particular, Mike Norris, whose work will shine brightly for many years to come. Thank you.
I appreciate talking to you, Mike. I really do. It's exciting for people to see the film and be touched by it. I'm pleased that you liked it also.
Oh, fantastic work. Well, again, we've been speaking with Christopher Walters. He is the producer of this wonderful documentary film called Artfully United, and look forward to more. Hope you'll find some time to come back and join me again sometime. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
You have been listening to Cinemaphile. I'm your host, Mike Caspar, and you can listen to previous interviews as well as special programming, or you can subscribe by going to Cinemaphile, that's File, with Mike Caspar, at Spotify. Until next time, thank you for listening.